We thought we had found our dream home. Seriously, it had the perfect kitchen, a huge backyard, but just 3 months after we moved in, it almost ruined us. We got hit with a surprise $15,000 foundation issue that the inspection completely missed, and then found out our property taxes were double what we'd been quoted. It pushed us right to the financial brink, and the stress was just unbearable. We were drowning. Every little noise the house made sent a jolt of anxiety through me. Every bill in the mail felt like another nail in our financial coffin. We weren't just house poor. We were emotionally bankrupt. We were constantly arguing, second-guessing every single choice that led us there. The dream had become this relentless, waking nightmare, completely trapped by a decision that was supposed to be about freedom and a new beginning. This wasn't just a string of bad luck. It was a catastrophic failure to prepare. We did everything we thought you were supposed to do. We got pre-approved. We toured open houses. We put in an offer. But we were so unprepared for the hidden, complex, and emotionally draining reality of it all. We didn't know what we didn't know, and it honestly almost cost us everything. In this video, I'm sharing the critical secrets we were forced to learn the hard way. Lessons that will save you from the nightmare we lived through, so you can buy your home with total confidence and zero regrets. I'm not a real estate agent or a mortgage broker. I'm just someone who's been through the fire of a home purchase gone wrong and came out the other side with a playbook of what actually matters. These aren't the generic tips you'll find on some bank's blog. These are the hard-won lessons from the trenches, the kind of advice I really wish someone had given me. We did manage to climb our way out of that crisis, but it took years of financial discipline and emotional recovery. That painful experience became our real education. It forced us to become experts in the things that truly protect you when you're buying a home. The goal here is to hand you that expertise so you can walk into this process with your eyes wide open, fully armed against the pitfalls that trap so many hopeful buyers. By the end of this, you'll have a clear, actionable framework to make sure your dream home doesn't turn into a source of regret. Secret 1, the true cost of home ownership. It's not the mortgage. All right, the first and most important secret, the one that blindsided us and so many others, is this. The price of the house isn't the real price of the house. That number on the listing, the mortgage payment you calculate, think of that as just the cover charge to get into the club. The real cost, the one that will dictate your financial health for years, is a sprawling, often hidden ecosystem of expenses. It's no surprise that a common regret among first-time homebuyers is not being prepared for the total cost of ownership. It's not about the mortgage. It's about everything else. Let's break this down into two buckets: the upfront surprise costs and the ongoing silent killer costs. First up, the upfront costs. Everyone tells you to save for a down payment. Obvious, right? But what they don't scream from the rooftops is that you need a second equally important pile of cash for everything else. The big one is closing costs. In 2025, you can expect to pay anywhere from 2% to 5% of the home's purchase price in closing costs. Let's make that real. On a $400,000 house, that's an extra $8,000 to $20,000 that you need in cash on closing day. This is totally separate from your down payment. It's a fee that covers a mountain of services: lender fees, appraisal fees, title insurance, attorney charges, and setting up your escrow account. We had a rough estimate, but the final number was thousands more than we expected, which was our first big red flag. Then you have the inspection phase. A standard home inspection might run you on average between $300 and $500, but that's just the start. That inspector might say, "I see signs of a potential foundation issue, but you'll need a structural engineer to confirm." Boom, another $500 to $1,000. They might say, "The sewer line looks old. You should get a sewer scope." That's another $200 to $350. Radon, mold, pests, each one is a separate specialized inspection with its own fee. We paid for the basic inspection and tried to save a few $100. That savings ended up costing us $15,000. Don't make our mistake. Pay for every inspection you can, especially on an older home. It is the best money you will ever spend. But the true financial drain, the one that causes the most long-term regret, comes from the ongoing costs. A recent Bankrate study found that the average annual cost of just owning and maintaining a home in the US was over $21,000. And with inflation, that's only going up. That number is on top of your mortgage. This was the thing that almost broke us. Let's talk property taxes. When we bought our house, the listing showed what the previous owner paid. We budgeted for that. What nobody told us is that the county reassesses the property's value after it's sold, based on the new higher sale price. Our property taxes didn't just go up, they doubled. All of a sudden, our monthly payment was hundreds of dollars more than we'd planned for. This is a massive trap. You can't trust the old tax bill. You have to research the local tax rate and calculate your future bill based on what you are paying for the house. Next, homeowners insurance. Premiums are rising everywhere and can vary wildly. If the house is in a flood zone or a high-risk fire area, you could be on the hook for thousands more a year. Don't just get one quote, get 3, and actually read the policy to see what is and isn't covered. And then, the biggest silent killer of them all, maintenance. Financial experts say you should budget 1% to 4% of the home's value for annual maintenance. On a $400,000 house, that's $4,000 to $16,000 a year. That's not for fun renovations. That's just to keep the house from falling apart. It's for the water heater that dies on the coldest day of winter, the dishwasher that floods your kitchen, the roof that starts leaking during a big storm. When you're a renter, you make a phone call. When you're a homeowner, you write a check. We had no maintenance fund. We poured every last cent into the down payment and closing. So when that foundation estimate hit, we had nothing. We had to take out a high-interest personal loan just to stop our house from sinking, digging ourselves into an even deeper hole. The stress was unreal. Every time it rained, I'd get a knot in my stomach, terrified we'd find water in the basement again. This is why having a fully funded emergency fund after you buy is non-negotiable. You need a buffer. You need a financial shock absorber because the shocks will come. Secret 2. How to emotionally detach and vet a neighborhood. The second secret is all about mastering your own psychology because the home buying process is designed to make you fall in love. You walk into an open house. It's staged perfectly. It smells like baked cookies. The afternoon sun is pouring in. You see the kitchen island and start imagining holiday dinners. You see the backyard and picture your dog running around. It's an emotional experience, not just a transaction. And that's exactly where the danger lies. We fall into what I call the soulmate trap. We find a house that checks a few big boxes and we just decide this is the one. The second that happens, we stop being objective detectives and start being emotional defenders. We rationalize all of its flaws. Oh, the roof is old, but look at that character. Sure, the commute is an extra 30 minutes, but the neighborhood is so charming. It's a little over budget, but we'll make it work. This is how people overpay. This is how people ignore huge red flags. Remember, it's a house, not a soulmate. There will always be another one. Your job is to be a detective, not a romantic. You need to actively try to talk yourself out of buying the house. Find every single reason why it won't work. If, after all that, you still can't find a fatal flaw, then you can let yourself get excited. Our mistake was falling in love with the look of the house. We loved the beautiful trim, the new kitchen, the clawfoot tub. We were so blinded by the pretty things we could see that we failed to investigate the important things we couldn't. This brings me to the second half of this secret. Vetting the neighborhood is just as important as inspecting the house. You are just buying a structure. You're buying a piece of a community. And that location is going to have a massive impact on your daily happiness, your finances, and your home's future value. A great house in the wrong neighborhood is a bad investment. So here's your new part-time job when you find a house you like. Don't just visit for the 30-minute showing on a sunny Saturday. That's the real estate equivalent of a first date, with everyone on their best behavior. You need to see what it's like on a Tuesday night, a Friday morning. Go there at different times on different days. Drive the commute to work. During rush hour, is it a soul-crushing 90 minutes of gridlock? Go there on a weekend night. Are your potential neighbors throwing parties until 2 a.m.? Is the street a constant stream of traffic? Park your car and just walk around. Do people take care of their yards? Are kids playing outside? Then dig deeper. Use online tools to check crime rates. Look up local school ratings, even if you don't have kids. Because a good school district drives property value. Go to the city or county planning website. Are there any big construction projects planned nearby? That beautiful patch of woods behind the house might be slated to become a new apartment complex. That quiet street could become a major shortcut. We almost bought a house next to a peaceful, empty field. A quick search of public records showed it was zoned for commercial use, and a big box store was already in the planning stages. We walked away fast. And the best tip, talk to the people who live there. This is the single best intelligence you can get. Go for a walk, and if you see someone gardening, strike up a conversation. Ask what they love about the neighborhood, and more importantly, what they don't. Ask about noise, local gossip, how reliable the internet is. Ask if they've had issues with their homes that are common to the area, like wet basements. People are usually incredibly honest. We did this for the house we eventually bought, and a neighbor warned us that our street gets super icy in the winter. It wasn't a deal breaker, but it was valuable info we never would have known otherwise. For our first home, the nightmare one, we did none of this. We saw the house, loved the tree-lined street, and made an offer. We didn't realize the charming train track a half-mile away was a major freight line that ran at all hours, shaking the windows. We didn't know our street was a popular cut-through for traffic. These little daily frustrations just added to the mountain of stress we were already under. They were a constant reminder that we failed to do our homework. Don't let emotion cloud your judgment. Be a detective. Secret 3. The inspection questions no one tells you to ask. This secret could literally save you tens of thousands of dollars. We all know you're supposed to get a home inspection. But what most people don't realize is that a standard home inspection is, by design, pretty limited. It's a surface-level look. The inspector is a generalist, not a team of specialists. Their job is to find visually observable problems. They aren't required to look behind walls, under floors, or inside your sewer pipes. The report you get is a snapshot, not a deep dive analysis. Our $15,000 foundation problem was a direct result of us not getting this. Our inspector noted some minor settling cracks and said it was typical for a house of this age. We read that and thought, great, nothing to worry about. What we should have done was see that phrase as a giant flashing red light. Any mention of cracks, water stains, an old electrical panel, or an aging roof is your cue to call in a specialist. Think of it this way. Your general inspector is like your primary care doctor. They can tell you if you have a cold, but if they see something that looks even a little off, they refer you to a specialist. You need to do the same for your potential home. Based on the general inspection and the age of the house, you should be ready to hire a few specialists. A general inspection costs around $340 to $400. But these specialized inspections are where you find the real deal breakers. First, if the house is more than 20 years old, always get a sewer scope. It costs around $200 to $350, and they send a camera down the sewer line to look for cracks, blockages, or tree roots. A sewer line repair can cost $5,000, $10,000, or even more, especially if they have to dig up your yard. It's a hidden time bomb. Second, if there's any mention of moisture, musty smells, or water stains, get a mold inspection. It can cost a few $100s, but might uncover a toxic problem that costs tens of thousands to fix. Mold isn't just a threat to your house, It's a threat to your health. Third, the big one, the foundation. If the inspector notes any cracks bigger than a hairline, doors that stick, or sloping floors, you have to hire a structural engineer. It'll cost you $500 to $1,000, but they can tell you if minor settling is actually a major structural failure. That $15,000 repair bill we paid would have been a negotiating point or a reason to walk away if we had just spent that extra few $100s for an expert. Fourth, the roof. A new roof can cost anywhere from $8,000 to $30,000 or more. The general inspector will look at it from the ground, but they won't always walk on it. If the roof is over 15 years old or looks worn, get a certified roofer to give you an estimate of its remaining life. Finally, don't just get the inspection, go to it. Walk through the house with the inspector. This is your single best chance to learn about the property. Ask questions, point at things, ask them to explain what they're seeing in plain English. Ask them, what would you worry about if you were buying this house? And what do I need to keep an eye on over the next 5 years? When you get that long, intimidating report, sort it into 3 categories. Category 1. Minor stuff, like a loose doorknob. You can ignore these for negotiations. Category 2. Moderate repairs, like a leaky faucet. Ask the seller to fix these or give you a credit. Category 3. Major systems and structural issues. Roof, HVAC, foundation, electrical. These are your potential deal breakers. If you find anything here, you either get a huge price reduction or you have the courage to walk away. Buying a house is a business deal. Be thorough, be skeptical, and never skimp on inspections. Secret 4. Decoding HOA documents for hidden dangers. The 4th secret is becoming more and more critical. You have to learn how to decode Homeowners Association HOA documents. If you're looking at a condo, a townhouse, or a home in many newer neighborhoods, an HOA is part of the deal. A lot of people just think of them as the paint color police. And while they do that, a poorly managed or financially unstable HOA can be a ticking time bomb for your wallet and your sanity. When you make an offer on a home in an HOA, you'll get a huge stack of documents, bylaws, budgets, meeting minutes. Most people just glance at the wall of legalese and sign. This is a huge mistake. These documents are just as important as your inspection report. Here's what to look for, starting with the most important thing. The money. The HOA is a business, and you're about to become a shareholder. You need to check its financial health. First, find the reserve fund study. This report lists all the major shared things the HOA has to pay for. The roof on a condo, the community pool, the roads. The study estimates how long each of those things will last and what it'll cost to replace them. Then, it tells you if the HOA has enough money saved up. A healthy reserve fund is the #1 sign of a well-run HOA. If it's severely underfunded, there's no money for big repairs. And when that 20-year-old roof finally fails, guess where the money comes from? You. It's called a special assessment, a surprise mandatory bill set to every homeowner. These can be thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars. You need to ask, is the reserve fund at least 70% funded? Are there any big repairs planned? Have there been any special assessments in the last 5 years? A yes to that last question is a major red flag. 5. Next, check the budget. Are the fees going up every year? A small, steady increase is normal. A huge jump is a sign of trouble. Also, look for the delinquency rate. How many people aren't paying their dues? If it's more than 5 to 10%, the HOA could be in financial trouble, and the paying homeowners have to make up the difference. After the money, read the rules and restrictions to see if you can actually live with them. Do you have a dog? Check for breed or size restrictions. Work from home? Some HOAs have rules against running a home business. Have a work truck? Many forbid parking commercial vehicles in the driveway. I have a friend who found out 2 weeks after moving in that he couldn't park his company van, his only vehicle, in his own driveway overnight. A total nightmare he could have avoided by just reading the documents. Look for rules about renting out your property. Even if you plan to live there forever, life can change. Some HOAs have strict caps on how many homes can be rented. If that cap is met, You might be forced to sell instead of rent if you need to move. Finally, read the board meeting minutes from the last year. This is where you find the real drama. Are neighbors constantly complaining about noise or maintenance? Is the board discussing lawsuits or major unfunded repairs? The minutes are a behind-the-scenes look at the community. A history of lawsuits is a giant red flag, because legal battles can drain an HOA's bank account fast. I know, decoding HOA docs is tedious and boring, but you can't skip this. If you're not comfortable, hire a lawyer who specializes in this to review them for you. It might cost a few $100, but it could save you from a 5 or 6 figure mistake. Secret 5. Setting a life-proof budget, not a bank's budget. This final secret brings everything together. It's about understanding the difference between what the bank says you can afford and what you can actually afford, while still having a life. This is easily the most common trap buyers fall into, and it's the #1 cause of becoming house poor. Here's how it goes. You go to a lender for pre-approval. You give them your income, your debts. They run some numbers and come back with a big, exciting number. Congratulations, you're approved for $500,000. And you immediately start looking at homes at the very top of that budget. This is a massive mistake. The bank's approval amount isn't a recommendation, it's the absolute maximum risk they're willing to take on you. Their number just means they're pretty sure you can make the payments, so they don't have to foreclose. It has zero to do with whether you'll be able to save for retirement, go on vacation, handle an emergency, or even afford dinner out once in a while. Lenders often use something like the 28-36 rule, saying your housing costs shouldn't be more than 28% of your gross monthly income, and your total debt no more than 36%. The problem is, that's based on your gross income, your salary before taxes and other deductions. A much safer approach is to base your budget on your take-home pay, the actual money that hits your bank account. A good rule of thumb is to keep your total housing payment under 25% to 30% of your monthly take-home pay. Let's do a quick example. Say your household makes $100,000 a year, or about $8,333 a month gross. The lender might say you can afford a monthly payment of around $2,333. But after taxes, your take-home pay might only be $6,000 a month. That $2,333 payment is now almost 39% of what you actually have to live on. That is the definition of house poor. This is exactly what happened to us. We were approved for a certain amount. We bought a house for that amount, and we were immediately stretched to our absolute limit. There was no room for error. When the taxes went up and the repair bill hit, we had no buffer. Our budget wasn't life-proof. So how do you build a life-proof budget? You do the work the bank won't. Create a real budget of your life right now. Track every dollar for a month or two. How much do you spend on groceries, gas, utilities, student loans? And what about fun? Restaurants, hobbies, travel? How much are you saving? Once you have a clear picture of where your money actually goes, you can see how a mortgage payment will fit in. But remember, secret #1. It's not just the mortgage. You have to add in estimates for property taxes based on your sale price, homeowner's insurance, and at least 1% of the home's value per year for maintenance. Let's say that all adds up to a total monthly cost of $3,000. Look at your take-home pay. Can you comfortably afford that $3,000 and still pay all your other bills, save for the future, and have money left over to actually enjoy your life? If the answer is no, or if it feels tight, you can't afford that house. It doesn't matter what the bank says. You have to be disciplined enough to set your own budget and stick to it. This might mean a smaller house, a different neighborhood, or waiting another year to save more. It is so much better to live happily in a home you can comfortably afford than to live in a constant state of stress in a dream home that actually owns you. Buying a home is one of the biggest journeys you'll ever take. As we learned the hard way, it demands more than just a down payment and a dream. It demands diligence, objectivity, and courage. The secrets we've talked about, understanding the true cost, detaching emotionally, mastering inspections, decoding HOA docs, and building a life-proof budget, they aren't just tips. They're your shield. They're the armor that will protect you from the financial and emotional devastation that we went through. The most crucial secret, the one that ties it all together, is that you have to be in control. You can't outsource your financial well-being to an agent, a lender, or an inspector. You have to take complete ownership of this process. The power to buy a home with confidence lies in your willingness to do the hard work, ask the tough questions, and be brave enough to walk away from a deal that isn't right. This journey can feel daunting, but when you're armed with this knowledge, you're not just a hopeful buyer anymore. You're an informed, empowered, and prepared future homeowner. You can make this dream a reality without sacrificing your peace of mind. If this video was helpful and you want more real-world advice for navigating life's biggest financial decisions, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. It really helps us keep making content like this. And now I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and let me know, what is your single biggest fear about buying a home? Is it the money, the fear of hidden problems, or something else? I read every comment, and your experiences help all of us learn together. Thanks for watching, and here's to buying your future home with zero regrets.